about your perspectives with our food systems. So if you could just raise your hand to these questions if you agree with them. How many of you make an effort to choose healthy foods, or at least think about what you're eating? Great, practically everybody. How many of you would say you have a solid understanding of nutrition? How many of you think it's a difficult choice to decide between budget concerns or healthy food choices? How many of you think food impacts all the other areas of your life, like education, chronic health problems, cultural cohesiveness? How many of you choose to have at least one weekly meal with related or chosen family? A couple of you. So in those meals that you have, do you take a little bit of extra time to prepare them, or do you think about them a little bit more when you're eating? So do you think of those meals as a way to nurture bonds and develop relationships? How many of you grow something edible? Nobody, I'm about one. 2 gardeners in the group. So when you eat something that someone else has grown that you know, do you think that food tastes fresher or better? Cool. How many of you regularly think of the food you eat as living beings? Excellent. How many of you think of eating as a way to be involved in the natural environment around you? Perfect. And how many of you think that the living beings that become our food are deserving of respect and gratitude? Wonderful. So you guys already know what I'm going to say. So basically, does our food system have problems? Yeah, exactly. Each and every one of us, regardless of our financial status, is impacted every day by the various factors that are creating food insecurity. The more you research and the more you learn, the more terrifyingly clear those risks actually become. And it's natural to want to not think about them, but if we don't talk about what food insecurity means and how we contribute to it, we can't develop the habits we need to deal with the tangible risks in the moment and the potential risks in the future. We have to partner with the living beings that are our food for our mutual success. Our food system is made up of a very complicated and diverse set of perspectives. And it's difficult to have a conversation with other people about it because everybody brings their own personal experience, and usually it's only involving a couple of aspects of our food systems. So it's difficult to talk about such a massive subject. And that's not the fault of the individual for only understanding parts of our food system. It's just evidence of how big the problem really is. When you do recognize the problems in our food system and try to come up with a solution, often it feels like a raindrop falling in an ocean. Like your actions aren't going to make a difference. But when we narrow those problems in our food system down to the root causes, we can find one central issue. And that's that we all treat food as if it's just like any other commodity. Transportation, electricity, my phone, they all mean more to us than our food choices most of the time. And if I had to walk home, it's gonna take me about 3 hours. But if I had to walk everywhere, I'm going to be healthier in the end. If I don't eat good food for a week, if I don't eat any food for a week, I'll be on the brink of death by starvation. Food is literally the most basic need we each have as human beings. We can get by without anything else. I'm gonna say that again. Food is the most basic need we have as human beings. When we acknowledge food is so critical to our existence, then we have to think about what we define as food. Media and advertising have built an enormous sector of our economy around food substitution substitutes and imitation food. They've successfully convinced a lot of us that we need improvements to our food in order to survive. Yet, professionals in the science and medical realm tell us whole foods are what we really need to maximize our mental and physical health and to have a healthy lifestyle and appreciation for things. So, which is it? Do we need improvements or do we need whole foods? What are whole foods? So whole foods are foods you can recognize. You can say, that is a pepper, that is an onion, that's a tomato, that's chicken. If you pull something out of a wrapper and it's in a bar shape and you can't tell what's in it, that would be an imitation or a substitute food. It may have great vitamins in it, but it's been processed beyond recognition. Why are whole foods so important when it comes to our nutrition? Whole foods contain complex combinations of nutrients that can't be replicated by imitation foods. These complicated and complex nutritional combinations, medicine and science will admit they don't even know the boundaries of them yet, which sounds crazy because media and advertising tell us you need antioxidants and you need vitamins and you need protein. So we think we know what we need. But if you need a microdose of mineral alpha and you have to ingest it with vitamin C and vitamin B12 in order for your body to absorb it, but a larger dose will make you sick, there's no reason for anyone to promote that because they can't make profit off of it. So unless you study nutritional science in depth, you don't even know about mineral alpha. Our nutritional knowledge is entirely based in capitalism and consumerism. So everyone who thought they knew about nutrition, not so much. Beyond the balanced nutrition that's in whole foods, I think whole foods give us another ingredient that's intangible: life energy. If you think about where whole foods come from, they come from plants and animals that are alive. If they're not processed beyond belief, we actually take in that life energy along with the nutrients. And I think that's really important. I have led an exercise with several groups about an apple. Everybody gets an apple. We sit for about 20 minutes observing and talking about the apple. From the time the tree that the apple grew from germinated, it grows 15 years, and then it produces enough apples for all of us to eat. And we all eat our apples at the end of that exercise. And every single time I run that exercise, everybody in the room says, oh my God, it was the best apple I've ever had. It was so satisfying. My stomach was growling and I ate it and I feel great. You know what? It's just an apple. It was always just an apple. It's our awareness that's changed, that's made that apple give us something. On the other hand, like I said, imitation foods are processed and refined until every hint of life energy is removed. They are dead. I've tested this idea of an intangible ingredient multiple times. Over the past 7 years, my partner and I have invited countless guests to our house, and I always make a meal that involves whole foods. And I talk about whole foods until everybody can't stand it anymore. But I make them walk around my gardens and we pick something from the garden to put in the meal, whether it's parsley or chives or something. And as people finish the meal, they have that same feedback. This was the best meal. It tasted so good. It's not because I'm a great cook. It's the food. The food tastes better because it's full of life energy. I think that they might not have as much feedback if I gave them mac and cheese. The food itself really does make a difference. And the food produces gratitude, and the gratitude is part of healthy food system equation. We need to get gratitude back into our healthy food equation. My gratitude for the living being that produced the thing I eat, my respect for the farmer who nurtured that thing until it was harvested, my appreciation for the companions that shared the food with me. It's all part of a connected web. When I go dump the scraps from my Whole Foods back out into my compost pile in the corner of my garden, I'm returning what's left of that life energy back into my garden, which is going to return it back to me. It's a never-ending circle of life energy. And that breeds empathy. Empathy is a portion of the food system just like gratitude. And when we have gratitude and empathy, it's easier for us to see when someone else is food insecure and help that problem be solved. So being part of the loop, I feel cared for and provided for, and I provide and care for others. And that connection is created by being engaged and raising awareness. It's a matter of accepting life energy and passing it on. Putting this into practice takes time, but I have a full-time job, I have friends, I have life. I can't cook for hours a day. It doesn't take hours a day. Whole foods need less conjuring in the kitchen. They taste better already. Sometimes I do make huge batches of sauce or soup or things like that, and I can them so that if I have guests show up or if I don't have any time because I got home late from work, I can grab something and make a quick meal and still have whole foods. Sometimes it's thinking ahead, but it's still within the realm of every person's possibilities. So despite what media and advertising want us to believe, we can enjoy life, enjoy this experience with whole foods, and it doesn't have to be that we can only eat substitute or imitation foods the way they make it seem. Once we've grasped this feeling of optimal nutrition, we can promote this connection and feeling within the entire human community and find ways to solve the issues in meaningful ways that will last. I'm not going to lie, this is a new and different way to think about our food systems and our own personal diet practices and our own food insecurity, and that's intentional. We need to think about it differently. Experts have been saying our food systems are becoming more and more insecure for 50 years. That's how long I've been alive. 50 years our food systems have become more insecure. We need to solve it now. And if we do, we'll taste the success, which is amazing. So after 7 years, I took the 600 plus sources that I read on behalf of all of you to come up with this idea, and I put them into a book called Food, Fear, Faith, and Fellowship. And this book really shows how I developed this idea of connection and how we need to come together to solve our food system issues. I address how fear is represented in multiple ways, both how we may fear food insecurity ourselves, we may fear what's being put into those imitation food things that we're eating, and how unbalanced nutrition actually makes us less capable of handling our fears. And I look at how we have this incredible faith that our food systems will always provide for everyone else, even if we don't have the resources. As well as how our food is an incredible part of our religious and spirituality belief systems. And fellowship is how we all come together. It is that idea of connection. So if we nurture our relationships with our food partners on a personal level and develop connection and empathy and gratitude, we can solve food insecurity for everyone.